a steamroll by any means. It was very close.
I think we're going to see a lot more action in this match because it's much harder to take a third in this map than it was in the last one. I mean, you basically had your natural and a pocket expansion, so 3 base right off the bat is 100% possible. Whereas this one, it's got the large surface area for the Forge Fast expand, so it's very unlikely that we see that considering the pylon is already in the base. And then you can attack through the third into the natural, and the third, it's got the a ramp on each side, so it's fairly hard to take and secure a third in this map. You have to be all over the place.
Yep, most definitely, and they are in cross positions. We are going to have our Orion. It's just going to be checking to see if they are close by air, which they are not. So both players will know where the opponent is now, as you cannot spawn in close positions here. You can only spawn in either cross or close by air.
I wonder if we are on the the MLG version. I wonder if MLG is only cross spawn.
No, it's close by air.
Oh, is it?
Well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not the close position. So
yeah.
It would be, here. All right, and we do have another pool first. So it looks like Economist is just a very safe player.
Yep, just playing super safe, doesn't want to overextend, but this time the probe can actually hang out and deny this expansion without fear of taking a pocket expansion.
All right, so you probably aren't going to be seeing too many decisions as far as tech for a little bit, if I had to guess. Neither of these players really seemed very risky at all. It seemed like they were both just very safe. So I think we're going to see something very safe again.
Yeah, just
so probably
some sort of
late hatchery, actually. If he is going to be getting down a second hatchery there.
Yeah, he hasn't even sent a drone out to try and do it. The probe actually went back in to see what the hell was going on, because he didn't. He hasn't seen any sort of expansion yet. He isn't mining gas anymore. So I wonder if his lings were late, and that's why he wanted to make sure he had the lings to clean this up. And that probe just died without giving up any fight. He just stood there, alright, kill me. That probe was not happy with life.
Expansion on 20 there. And the first Zealot is up, so it's ready for any ling harass, so they're not going to be able to get any sort of reconnaissance. And we've got a stalker up, and we have our second gas going down. I think we'll probably see a robotics facility build from Orion again.
Second gate is coming up now, so maybe it will be another 2-gate expand like he did last time. But the Zerglings are there, so they can do a little bit of denying. So they're just kind of poking around, see what damage they can do. But the Stalker is out, so that is going to send the Zerglings away. And the Zealot's going to go out, and the Stalker, and he's going to do a 2-gate expand again. And they're just going to try and scare off these Zerglings. There's only 2 of them, so they should die very, very quickly. And there they go.
It looks like a very genuine rematch, and that both players are playing in similar ways as they did last game. So we'll see if just having a little bit of a different map will make a difference here. And our Zerg is already saturated on his main, so he does need to get those drones transferred over to his natural ASAP.
Sent a couple over, and the Queen is there. And he's getting some spines up just to get super, super safe. So as we've said before, both these players are just super safe players. We're not seeing anything super risky or anything. They just want to kind of get their economy going and just get to the point where they feel comfortable attacking. Wait. The
Economist wants to get his economy up and running. So apropos. Maybe that's why he chose his name. I'm very curious.
Because he likes... But that Queen looks like it might die. That Queen very well could go down.
4 hit points.
And there it goes to the Queen. But he does have another Queen up, so he still has 2 Queens, so he can get his injects. But that Queen...
That's actually quite a few Queens early on, considering no evidence of
any sort of airplay.
He looks nervous because he's getting a spore crawler here, too. I wonder what he thinks is going on, that he feels like he needs anti-air.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure why he may think that. He didn't see anything that kind of...
I mean, there were DTs last game, but they were extremely, well, not extremely late, but they were quite late DTs. It's not like it was a DT rush in which he had to be ready for detection. But.
Yeah, they showed up by their third. I mean, he did get caught out of position on his Overseer, but, those Lings are going to try and get in and do some damage, and they're going to get cleaned up without doing anything. They took a little bit of shield off the sentries, and that's about it. He did force 2 force fields, though. So that's 2 force fields he won't have for a little bit, but at the way this game's going, I'm not sure he's going to need them for a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a Roachhorn going up and a Lair Morphine, so it's very possible that we're going to see a similar, Roach Hydra play. And the Roach Hydra play, I mean, it was extremely effective.
Until he fell behind on upgrades.
Yeah, that's true, and he isn't making the same mistake. He's already starting his upgrades, so he's actually going to be ahead in upgrades from his opponent this time around. So, as effective as it was last time, it could work again for him.
We do have the Protoss working their way across the map. They are hanging out in the natural expansion for the Zerg, and he actually has a different composition than last time. He's gone heavier on the Stalkers than the Sentries, and he's going to try and push into this. I'm not sure this is the world's best idea, but we only have 2 Zerglings on the map. He's actually going to be able to do a ton of damage here. I figured there would have been more Zerglings. He's going to have to pull drones. He's trying to clean up all the sentries. He's focusing those down first to avoid any sort of force fields, and the Zerglings come out, but they are going to get cleaned up. He may push this attack off. There is no proxy pylon, so he can't reinforce very quickly, so they do have to travel all the way across the map. So it is going to give him time to get more Zerglings out and get those spine crawlers up. So we now have 27 Zerglings on the map, so this should be able to deal with any sort of aggression from Orion, and he's going to lose all of these Stalkers.
Yep, and we do have a Spire that's about 80% completed, so we're going to be seeing some harass, and our Protoss player is not really equipped to deal with Muta harass at the moment. He'll be able to warp in Stalkers, but he doesn't have Blink, which is really helpful and sort of necessary against Muta.
He is adding on 4 more gates, so he's going to go up to 8 gates with this. He might be going for some sort of timing push. Just kind of an 8-gate push fairly soon. So, but the Zerg is going to counterattack. And with only 3 Zealots, 3 Sentries, and 2 Stalkers, he may be able to do a little bit of damage with this.
If he went into the third, he'd definitely be able to force a cancel on that.
I'm not sure he even knows about the third. I think otherwise he would have went there, but now he's going to poke in there, and he is going to see the third and force a cancel. There's actually a bad position for the Zerg player, though. He doesn't want to be on equal bases with the Protoss. He really needs to be taking his third soon.
Yeah, I agree. And he's sitting on quite a bit of mineral, too. I'm really surprised that he hasn't gone and started one. I think he might just be waiting for a really big, round of Muta. But, and there's 6 Muta on the way. I think it would have been a good idea for him to get that hatchery up, though.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, he's got the money for it, and it would allow him to get more workers, get more units up and going, and get his economy going better.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a macro hatch, so, he's already been spreading his creep. I think taking his third would have been a good idea there, but...
So the Mutas are going to come in and do some harass, but there's only 4 Mutas. But, lucky for him, there's 8 Stalkers now, so with only 4 Mutas, the Stalkers should be able to push this off. He might get a couple pro kills in here, but the Stalkers are going to be able to respond to that and should be able to thwart this attack. Oh, he's warping in a whole bunch more Stalkers, so he ended up doing a little bit of damage. He's going over to the natural, but there is a cannon at the natural. Oh, he's going to attack into the cannon. That is not a good idea. He's going to lose Mutas that way, and when those Stalkers show up. So he ended up losing 1 Muta, and he killed about 8 workers. So that's actually effective.
And Blink is about done, so the Muta harass is really going to be having to come to a close now.
But he does have a ton of Lings, which he looks like he's ready to attack for. He might try and sneak in and force a cancel on that third. And he's still not taking his own third. So that's interesting. So I feel like the Economist is really looking to kind of just win on 2 bases. Because he is making tons and tons and tons of Lings. He's up to 93 Lings and 10 Mutas. Lings are 2-0. And the Economist only has 7 Zealots. He does have Blink, though, so he's going to be able to blink out of that. 3 Sentries, so he will be able to get some force fields, and he only has +1 attack. The Zerg player is ahead in supply, though, but a lot of that is, he's not macroing up very much.
Well, and this was a nice attack here, so he's going to do a two-pronged thing. So the Muta have drawn off the Stalkers, and he's going to run in and get all these probes here.
Oh, and there's the whole position macro. That is going to kill so many. He has killed 37 probes this game. That is so much damage. And it looks like he may get this Nexus. Oh, those force fields are cutting down the surface area, and wow, those force fields saved the Nexus. Excellent work on those force fields, but now he's going to go in for the Nexus at the third. And let's see how much damage... And he is just going to let it go. That's interesting. I'm very surprised he's going to let that go. He might try and do the slick force field, but not in time.
Yeah, I don't think he has the sentries for it, so...
Excellent force fields to stop those Zerglings from kind of following the attack, but he left the space open, so he is going to lose those Zealots. And Protoss is only down to 6 workers. Because those Mutas at the same time kind of came in the back and killed off any of the workers in the natural. He's down to 8 workers. He has almost no economy left.
Oh, we only have 36 hit points on that Nexus. It is so dangerously low. He could just run in with those Mutas and snipe it really quick.
What Mutas?
He still has about 6 or 7 Mutas.
Oh, okay, there they are.
There
they are.
And he's got 7 more in production.
Protoss realizes he just needs to push out now. He has almost no workers. He's only got 13 workers. He needs to just push. But he's behind his supply by a good amount. So he is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty difficult to come back from. We've got 16 workers versus 52 workers. We've got some army, but again, it's basically double the supply for Economist. And so even though a lot of that supply is in workers, it's still pretty devastating.
Absolutely. I mean, the army supplies favor the Zerg worker 58 to 22. Oh, he's actually going to try and... No. He thought about attacking into those Stalkers, and he's still thinking about attacking into those Stalkers, but it's not necessarily a great idea with the Zealots, but now he's got the Lings coming in. Although he can blink, the Lings are going to be able to do a good amount of damage to these Stalkers, and this is pretty much good game. Once he loses this army, he can't reinforce it, and he is just going to be forced to GG. Maybe he's going to try and find himself a better position to get a good engagement, but he's on borrowed time right now. There's really not much he can do. He needs to take super efficient engagements and buy himself some time to get his economy up, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's just so many Zerglings on the map. Zerg is checking for a third expansion, which is no longer there, so he knows that the Protoss player is essentially all in. Defending all in, apparently, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like an all-in. It's like a desperate last...
Yeah. Excellent
breath.
Force fields, though. I mean, trapping most of those Zerglings so the Stalkers can do a good amount of damage. And he is actually getting a very efficient trade, but it's just a matter of time for those Force fields to run out. That was actually... Well, it looks like he's still going to end up finishing it off here. But that was... the Zerglings were running their head into the wall against the Force fields. And then when the Force fields dropped, they just ran away. He's actually going to hold this. Wow. Good for him holding that. But, I mean, he really still doesn't have a large economy. He's not going to be warping a ton. And he's still about 70 supply behind. I mean, there's a whole bunch more Lings. There's some Roaches now mixed in. And by Roaches, I mean 2.
Yeah, I feel like maybe, Economist would have been a little bit better off if he would just sort of waited for just sort of a critical mass of units versus going in for these couple sort of smaller engagements. I think that would have been what he needed for the death blow there. At
this point, he's so far ahead, he basically can just sit back, mass up, max his army, and then just roll out and roll over the entire Protoss army.
And he's got nice upgrades. He does have +1 for his air. He's at 2-2 for his Zerglings.
And Protoss is still at 1-0 for his upgrade, so he is far behind in upgrades at this point. And all he's left with is 12 Stalkers, so those 12 Stalkers are going to have to hold down the fort again. And the Mutas are just kind of floating around, checking for any sort of expansions there, and they're going to go back in and try and do some damage. So he's actually going to be able to get this Artosis... Oh no, never mind. Now it's an Artosis pylon. So he's just cutting off all of the production for this Protoss player, going in and killing whatever workers are left. This game has not been kind for Protoss workers. Good blink still, blinking forward, but that's a lot of mutas. While you should never really lose a muta, he could actually be able to take this engagement pretty close to head-on. So that's 65 workers killed for the Protoss player. Well, workers lost.
And it looks like in the meantime he is just massing up a ground army, so he's got 5 control groups worth of Zerglings here. We've got some roaches hiding out somewhere. We've got Hydralisks on the way. And our Zerg player is getting pretty close to max. He's at 176 out of 1e4. So he's about triple the supply of our Protoss player.
I feel like these 2 roaches are going to make this for him. If he didn't have these 2 roaches, I'm not sure he'd be able to win. But he is just going to overrun this third. More worker death. Those workers didn't even stand a chance. And then there's one just, oh, I'm getting out of here. They did not want anything to do with that Zerg army. And there is an Archon mixed in. But I don't care how much 2 Archons against triple your supply isn't going to do that much damage. So the Zerglings are going to run in after the Stalkers were pulled out of position, and they should be able to clean the rest of this army up. Excellent blink up onto the high ground, though. He is fighting, doing good amount of damage, and there is the GG. Yeah, he was really just on borrowed time at that point.
Yeah.